The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. There is a story told about a young eagle that was raised among chickens. From the moment it opened its eyes, it saw only the world around it. It walked where they walked, it ate what they ate, it believed what they believed. One day, the eagle looked into the sky and saw a powerful bird flying higher than anything it had ever imagined. It felt something inside of it awaken. Something whispered, "You were created for more." But the chickens around him laughed. "That is not who you are," they said. "Stay on the ground. This is where you belong." And the eagle had a choice. Would it accept the limits of its environment, or would it discover the power of its identity? Many people today live like that eagle. They have incredible potential, but they are surrounded by voices telling them to stay small. They allow fear, failure, criticism, and past mistakes to define them. They look at their circumstances and conclude that their circumstances are their destiny. But history has always been changed by people who refuse to accept ordinary thinking. The world remembers those who developed a different mindset. When others saw impossible, they saw opportunity. When others saw obstacles, they saw training. When others surrendered, they discovered strength. The difference was not always talent. The difference was not always resources. The difference was the way they thought. The question is not only, what are you capable of doing? The deeper question is, have you developed the mind of someone who is capable of doing it? Because before an eagle can rise in the sky, it must first believe it was created to fly. And that is the message of this speech. Today we will discover why the eagle is not simply a symbol of power, but a symbol of a mindset. The eagle mentality means developing the courage to rise above limitations, the discipline to pursue purpose, and the wisdom to see beyond temporary storms. This is why the title of this message is The Eagle Mentality. Because success does not begin with your circumstances, it begins with the way you see yourself. When we ended the introduction, we discovered a powerful truth. Before an eagle can rise into the sky, it must first understand that it was created to fly. And this is where the journey truly begins. Because the greatest battles in life are not always fought outside of us. Many of the greatest battles are fought inside the mind. The eagle's first challenge was not the height of the mountains. It was not the strength of the wind. It was not the vastness of the sky. The eagle's first challenge was believing that it belonged there. And this is the same battle many people face every day. They are not defeated because they lack ability. They are defeated because they have accepted a smaller identity. They look at their past and say, "This is who I am." They look at their failures and say, "This is what I deserve." They look at the opinions of others and say, "Maybe they are right." But history teaches us something different. The people who changed the world were often people who refused to accept the identity that others gave them. Consider the life of Abraham Lincoln. Before he became one of the most respected leaders in history, he experienced rejection, failure, and disappointment. He lost political races. He faced criticism. He lived through emotional struggles that could have caused many people to give up. But Lincoln carried something deeper than his circumstances. He carried a belief that his life had meaning beyond his current situation. He understood that failure was an event, not an identity. And this is one of the greatest differences between ordinary thinking and the eagle mentality. Ordinary thinking asks, "Why is this happening to me?" The eagle mentality asks, "What can I become through this experience?" This is why the mind is the battlefield of greatness. Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote about the importance of self-reliance and trusting the inner power that exists within a person. He understood that a person who constantly depends on external approval will never fully discover their own potential. Because if you need everyone to believe in you before you believe in yourself, you will always be controlled by the opinions of others. But the eagle does not ask the birds below if it has permission to fly. It does not look at the ground and apologize for wanting the sky. It simply follows its design. And that is a lesson every person must learn. Your environment can influence you, but it does not have the authority to define you. The people around you may see your current condition, but they cannot always see your future potential. The world often judges what is visible, but greatness is usually created in what is invisible. Napoleon Hill studied successful people and discovered that one of the strongest characteristics among achievers was a definite purpose combined with a powerful belief system. They could see something before it existed. They could imagine a future before others could understand it. They had an inner picture that was stronger than their outer circumstances. That is the power of the eagle mentality. It is the ability to see beyond what is in front of you. Think about Thomas Edison. When he was working on the electric light bulb, he experienced thousands of unsuccessful experiments. Many people around him saw failure, but Edison saw progress. He famously explained that he had not failed, but discovered ways that did not work. That mindset separated him from others. He did not allow temporary results to determine permanent belief. And this is where we must challenge ourselves. How many dreams have people abandoned because they allowed one failure to define them? How many talents have remained hidden because someone listened to a voice that said, "You are not capable"? How many people are living beneath their potential because they have accepted the limits of their surroundings? The eagle mentality begins when you stop allowing your circumstances to introduce you. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your greatest failure. You are not the criticism spoken over your life. You are a person with the ability to grow, learn, adapt, and rise. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, understood that the mind has incredible power over human experience. He taught that we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. And that response begins with the way we think. Because thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become actions, actions become habits, and habits shape destiny. So if you want a different life, you must first develop a different mindset. That is why the eagle mentality is not just about ambition. It is about transformation. It is about becoming the type of person who can handle the heights you desire. Because the sky requires a different mindset than the ground. The ground teaches survival, but the sky demands courage. The ground teaches limitation, but the sky reveals possibility. So this is why the eagle mentality matters. The eagle rises because it thinks differently before it flies differently. History proves that the greatest leaders, innovators, and visionaries were not people who simply had better circumstances. They were people who developed a stronger internal foundation. And that is why the principle behind the eagle mentality cannot be ignored. Your future will never rise higher than the vision you carry inside your mind. But understanding your identity is only the beginning, because after the eagle discovers that it was created to fly, it must face the next challenge, the storm. And the question becomes, will the eagle run from the storm, or will it learn how to use the storm to rise higher? That is the lesson we will discover in the next chapter. When we discovered in the previous chapter that the eagle does not think like the crowd, we uncovered the first secret of greatness. Before you can change your circumstances, you must first transform the way you see yourself. The eagle had to understand its identity. It had to stop listening to the voices telling it to remain on the ground. It had to recognize that it was created for something higher. But now comes the next lesson, because discovering who you are is only the beginning. The moment the eagle decides to rise, it encounters something every person who pursues greatness must face: the storm. The wind becomes stronger, the sky becomes darker, the journey becomes more difficult. And this is where many people give up. They were willing to dream, but they were not prepared to endure. They wanted the height, but they did not understand the process required to reach it. But the eagle teaches us a powerful truth. The storm is not always there to destroy you. Sometimes the storm is there to develop you. Many people see challenges as signs that they are on the wrong path. They believe that if life becomes difficult, they must turn back. But history tells a different story. The greatest leaders, innovators, and visionaries were not people who avoided storms. They were people who learned how to rise through them. Think about Winston Churchill during one of the darkest periods in human history. When the world faced the uncertainty and destruction of World War II, many people were filled with fear. Nations were struggling. The future looked unclear. But Churchill understood something about leadership. A leader is not created when everything is comfortable. A leader is revealed when everything is difficult. He stood before his people and offered courage when fear was everywhere. He understood that the strength of a person is not measured by the absence of problems, but by the ability to continue despite problems. As Churchill said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. That is the heart of the eagle mentality. The eagle does not wait for the storm to disappear before it flies. It uses the power of the storm to rise higher. The same wind that pushes other birds down becomes the force that lifts the eagle above the clouds. And this is a lesson we must understand in life. The difficulties you face today may be preparing you for the heights you desire tomorrow. The rejection may be building your patience. The failure may be developing your wisdom. The struggle may be strengthening your character. Viktor Frankl experienced one of the darkest chapters of human history when he was imprisoned in concentration camps during the Holocaust. He lost his freedom. He lost his security. He experienced unimaginable suffering. But through that suffering, he discovered one of the deepest truths about human strength. A person may not control every circumstance, but they can choose the meaning they give to that circumstance. Frankl discovered that purpose gives people the strength to endure, and that principle connects directly to the eagle mentality. Because an eagle does not rise because life is easy. It rises because it knows the reason it must continue. Purpose gives strength. A person without purpose sees obstacles as barriers. A person with purpose sees obstacles as preparation. This is why Napoleon Hill emphasized the importance of a definite purpose. He studied successful people and discovered that they were not controlled by temporary emotions or temporary difficulties. They had something inside them that was stronger than the challenges outside them. They had a reason to continue. And that is the question every person must ask. What is strong enough inside me that I will continue even when life becomes difficult? Because everyone experiences storms. No one escapes challenges. The difference is not whether the storm arrives. The difference is what you become when it arrives. A storm can make one person surrender, but the same storm can make another person stronger. The difference is mindset. The eagle mentality does not ask, why is this happening to me? It asks, what is this moment teaching me? It searches for the lesson inside the struggle. It looks for growth inside the difficulty. It understands that pressure is often the process that creates strength. Even diamonds are formed under pressure. Even muscles grow through resistance. Even wisdom is often developed through experience. So when you face your own storms, remember, do not allow temporary difficulty to convince you that your journey has ended. A difficult chapter does not mean it is the end of your story. Sometimes the hardest chapters create the strongest characters. Marcus Aurelius understood this principle. He believed that obstacles could become opportunities for growth if the mind approached them correctly. The obstacle itself is not always the enemy. Sometimes the way you respond to the obstacle determines whether you rise or remain stuck. And this is exactly why the eagle mentality is true. The eagle does not become powerful because it avoids storms. The eagle becomes powerful because it learns how to overcome them. The person with an eagle mentality does not run from challenges. They allow challenges to build them. They understand that every storm carries a lesson, every struggle carries potential, and every difficulty can become a stepping stone toward a greater version of themselves. So remember the lesson of this chapter. The eagle first learns who it is. Then it learns how to rise when the wind becomes strong. Because identity gives you direction, but endurance gives you elevation. And that is why the principle behind the eagle mentality cannot be ignored. The heights you reach in life will not only depend on your dreams, they will depend on your ability to remain strong when the storms arrive. But surviving the storm is not the final destination, because after the eagle learns how to rise above the wind, it must discover where it is flying. It must discover its purpose. And that is where the next chapter begins. We learned that identity gives you direction, but endurance gives you elevation. The eagle first had to discover who it was. Then it had to develop the strength to survive the winds that challenged it. But now, a deeper question appears. After the eagle rises above the storm, where does it fly? Because strength without direction can become wasted energy. A person can be talented but lost. A person can be ambitious but empty. A person can achieve success and still feel like something is missing. Why? Because true greatness is not only about going higher, it is about knowing why you are rising. And this is where the next principle of the eagle mentality begins. The eagle does not fly randomly. It flies with purpose. Every movement has direction. Every journey has intention. Every flight has a destination. And the same must be true for human beings. Many people spend their lives chasing achievements without understanding the purpose behind them. They chase money but never ask what they want money to accomplish. They chase recognition but never ask what impact they want to create. They chase success but never ask who they need to become to carry that success. But the eagle mentality teaches something different. It says, do not only ask how far you can go, ask why you are going there. Because purpose is what gives meaning to progress. Without purpose, success becomes empty. With purpose, even the smallest action becomes powerful. History proves this again and again. Look at the life of Benjamin Franklin. He was not born as one of the greatest thinkers and innovators in history. He developed himself intentionally. He created systems to improve his character, knowledge, and discipline. He understood that greatness is not built by accident. It is built through daily choices. Franklin knew that a person must become prepared for the opportunities they desire. And this is exactly what the eagle mentality represents. The eagle does not wait until it reaches the sky to become powerful. It develops strength before the journey begins. It prepares in silence. It builds ability before the world recognizes it. This is a lesson many people miss. They want the results of greatness without accepting the responsibility of growth. They want the destination without the development. But purpose requires preparation. Aristotle taught that excellence is not an isolated act. It is a habit. A person becomes excellent by consistently practicing excellence. And that principle applies to every area of life. Your future is not created by one dramatic decision. It is created by the small decisions you repeat every day, the books you read, the discipline you develop, the thoughts you allow, the actions you practice. These things are shaping the person you are becoming. Jim Rohn often taught that success is something you attract by the person you become. And this connects deeply with the eagle, because the eagle does not change the sky. The eagle changes itself to become capable of living in the sky. That is a powerful lesson. Sometimes people spend all their energy trying to change their circumstances while ignoring the person they need to become. But the eagle mentality understands. Transformation begins within. Your external results are often a reflection of your internal development. Carl Jung explored the importance of self-discovery and becoming aware of the deeper potential within yourself. Many people never discover their purpose because they never take the time to understand themselves. They live according to expectations created by others. They follow paths chosen by society. They chase goals that do not truly belong to them. But the eagle was never designed to imitate other birds. It was designed to soar. And you must discover what your unique purpose requires from you, because purpose is personal. Your journey may not look like someone else's journey. Your timeline may not match someone else's timeline. Your assignment may not be understood by everyone around you. But the eagle does not compare its flight with the birds walking on the ground. It focuses on its own design. This is where many people lose their potential. They compare their beginning to someone else's middle. They compare their behind-the-scenes struggles to another person's public success. But comparison destroys focus. Purpose restores direction. When you know why you exist, distractions become easier to recognize. You stop chasing everything. You start building what matters. This is why Napoleon Hill emphasized having a definite purpose. A person with purpose has an inner compass. Even when challenges come, they know where they are going. Even when criticism appears, they remain focused. Even when progress is slow, they continue. Because purpose gives endurance. Remember what Viktor Frankl taught us from his experience of suffering. A person who has a reason to live can endure incredible difficulties. Purpose gives strength during difficult seasons. It gives meaning to the struggle. It transforms pain into growth. And that is why the eagle mentality is not just about reaching higher. It is about rising for a reason. So that's why the eagle mentality matters. The eagle does not fly because it wants attention. It flies because it is following its nature. It rises because it was created for elevation. It moves because it has direction. This is exactly why the eagle mentality is true. Great people are not simply people who go far. They are people who know why they are going. History proves that the most impactful leaders, inventors, and visionaries were driven by something greater than personal achievement. They were driven by purpose. And that is why the principle behind the eagle mentality cannot be ignored. Your greatest potential is not found only in what you can accomplish. It is found in what you were created to contribute. So remember the lesson of this chapter. The eagle needs identity to know who it is. It needs courage to survive the storm, but it needs purpose to know where it is going. Because a bird with strong wings but no direction can still become lost. And that brings us to the final lesson. Because once you discover your purpose, the next challenge is not only reaching your destination. The next challenge is leaving something behind. A life that inspires, a legacy that continues. And that is where the journey of the eagle mentality reaches its highest level. In the previous chapter, we discovered that the eagle does not simply rise because it has strong wings. It rises because it knows where it is going. We learned that identity gives the eagle confidence. The storm gives the eagle strength. But purpose gives the eagle direction. And now we arrive at the final lesson of this journey. Because there is something greater than reaching the destination. There is something greater than personal success. There is something greater than proving to the world what you can achieve. The highest level of the eagle mentality is not only learning how to fly, it is learning how to use your flight to create impact. Because a life without impact is a life that only benefits itself. But a life lived with purpose becomes a source of inspiration for others. The eagle does not rise just so other birds can admire its height. It rises because it was designed to see farther, travel higher, and experience a perspective that others cannot see. And this is the final transformation of the eagle mentality. You do not rise only for yourself. You rise because your growth can become someone else's hope. Your discipline can become someone else's example. Your courage can become someone else's motivation. This is the foundation of true legacy. Many people spend their lives asking, how successful can I become? But a deeper question is, who will become better because I lived? Because greatness is not measured only by what you collect. It is measured by what you contribute. History remembers people who created something beyond themselves. Think about Theodore Roosevelt. He believed that a meaningful life was not found in comfort, but in courage, responsibility, and action. He understood that the person who refuses to step into the arena will never experience the greatness that comes from facing challenges. He once said, "The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, the person willing to struggle, the person willing to try, the person willing to risk failure for something meaningful. That is the person who creates a legacy." And this connects directly to the eagle mentality. The eagle does not spend its life looking down at the ground. It rises above limited vision. It sees possibilities that others cannot see. And people with an eagle mentality do the same. They refuse to live only for temporary rewards. They build something that lasts. They invest in their character. They develop wisdom. They influence others. They understand that success without significance is incomplete. This is why leaders throughout history were not remembered only because they achieved something. They were remembered because they transformed something. Abraham Lincoln was remembered not only because he became president. He was remembered because he carried responsibility during one of the most difficult moments in his nation's history. Martin Luther King Jr. was remembered not simply because he had a dream. He was remembered because he had the courage to stand for that dream. Thomas Edison was remembered not only because he created inventions, he was remembered because his persistence changed the way people lived. These individuals understood something powerful. Your life is a message. Every choice you make is writing a story. Every challenge you overcome becomes evidence that others can overcome theirs. Every lesson you learn becomes wisdom you can share. That is why the eagle mentality matters. The eagle does not measure its success by how high it climbs alone. It measures success by fulfilling its design. And your purpose is not only about what you receive, it is about what you release into the world. C.S. Lewis spoke about the danger of settling for less than the greatness we are capable of becoming. Many people live ordinary lives, not because they lack potential, but because they never accept the responsibility that comes with potential. Potential is a gift, but responsibility is the price of developing it. A person with the eagle mentality understands, if I have been given ability, I have a responsibility to use it. Your knowledge can help someone. Your experience can guide someone. Your story can encourage someone who is still fighting their own storm. Never underestimate the power of your example. Sometimes the greatest speech you will ever deliver is the life you live. People may forget your words, but they will remember your courage. They will remember your consistency. They will remember the way you responded when life tested you. This is the difference between achievement and legacy. Achievement asks, what did I accomplish? Legacy asks, what did my life inspire? And that is why purpose, courage, and discipline must come together. The eagle needs identity to know who it is. It needs strength to rise through the storm. It needs purpose to know where it is going. But it needs character to make its journey meaningful. Because reaching the mountain is not enough. You must become the type of person worthy of standing there. Jim Rohn taught that success is not only the result you achieve, but the person you become during the process. And that person becomes your greatest achievement. So when you look at your life, do not only think about the goals you want to reach. Think about the person you are becoming. Are you becoming someone who inspires? Are you becoming someone who leads? Are you becoming someone whose life proves that growth is possible? Because that is the final lesson of the eagle. The eagle does not fly to escape the ground. It flies because it belongs to the sky. And you must discover where you belong. You must discover what you were created to contribute. You must discover what impact your life can make. So that's why the eagle mentality matters. It is not about pride. It is not about being above others. It is about becoming the highest version of yourself so you can serve a purpose greater than yourself. This is exactly why the eagle mentality is true. History proves that the people who changed the world were people who developed themselves, overcame storms, followed purpose, and created a legacy. And that is why the principle behind the eagle mentality cannot be ignored. The journey of the eagle teaches us 4 eternal lessons. Know who you are. Rise through the storm, fly with purpose, leave a legacy, because the greatest victory is not simply reaching the sky. The greatest victory is becoming the kind of person who can rise there and inspire others to rise too. And that is the true power of the eagle mentality. The journey of the eagle mentality is a journey of transformation. We began by discovering that the eagle must first understand its identity before it can ever rise. The greatest limitations are often not found in the world around us, but in the beliefs we carry within us. Then we learned that every eagle must face the storm. Challenges are not always signs to stop. Sometimes they are the very process that develops strength, wisdom, and character. We discovered that true elevation requires purpose. A person can have talent, ambition, and opportunity, but without direction, their potential remains unfinished. Purpose gives meaning to the struggle and turns ordinary actions into a powerful mission. Finally, we learned that the highest form of success is not only achievement but legacy. The greatest lives are not remembered because they climbed higher than others, but because they lifted others while they climbed. This is why the eagle mentality is more than a phrase. It is a way of thinking. It is the decision to rise above limitation. embrace growth, pursue purpose, and become a person whose life creates impact. So today, choose to think higher, choose to grow stronger, choose to rise, because the world does not need more people trapped by fear. It needs people with the courage to spread their wings and soar.